So without being affected by the virus, we are sitting in the home and we are protecting. And the four boundaries and the four walls cannot hear. Guys, am I not audible? Okay. Um, so what I'm telling is, what I'm just telling is, to provide the security and reusability, to provide the security and reusability. What happened? What happened to provide the security reusability? To provide the security and reusability, guys, object-oriented programming languages came into picture. And here, the very important thing is, in an object-oriented language, also a program is a collection of variables and functions only. But to provide security for the members, we are going to wrap the members inside of a container, and we call that as a class. What is that? To provide the security for the members, we are going to wrap these members inside of a container, and we call that as a class now. So what is that container and what is that class? That will be a little bit confusion for us right now, but let's just try to understand about it. Let's try to understand about this one, guys. So I will look. This is a procedural program. This is a procedural program. This is a program, guys. In this program, you defined members. Look carefully. This is a program. In this, you define the members. This is an object-oriented program. This is a program. This is a program. And here also you define a member, but these members are wrapped inside a container called as a class. These are wrapped inside a container. See, you wrap your mobile phone inside a mobile pouch. For what? Why are you wrapping your mobile phone inside a pouch? Protection. Okay. Why are you wrapping the food in a container? Why are you wrapping the food in a container? The food comes in a container. You just take the food. The food is always wrapped inside a container. Do you leave the food exposing without putting a lid on that? Do you leave food? If you leave it, what will happen? Insects, mosquitoes, flies, everything will come and sit on the food now. And afterwards, if you eat, you will be hospitalized now. Okay. So to protect the food, what we do, we just cover it. A wrapper always protects the content inside of it. A wrapper always protects the content that is present inside of it. Exactly. Your members are protected now. Your members are protected now with the help of that wrapper. Your members are protected now with the help of that wrapper. The wrapper will give you the protection for the members. See, in an object-oriented programming approach also, a program is a collection of members like variables and functions only. But the main difference between object-oriented programming and procedural languages is, to protect the members of a program, we put them under a container or a wrapper known as a class. We put them under a container or a wrapper known as a class. We are just going to wrap them inside a class actually. And that particular class is going to provide you all the required security to you. That class is going to provide you all the required security for you. The complete security comes to you through that particular class only. Is it clear, guys? Is everyone clear with this? Okay, now? Fine. Guys, is everyone added in the Google Classroom? Yeah, guys who are not added, who are not added, just what you do is 37 people are added, guys. 37 are added. Andy Kishore. Kishore, are you there? Yeah. Kishore, are you there? Mr. Kishore. Kishore, you did not accept the request. Go to your Gmail. In the Gmail, you'll be finding an invitation from Naresh IT. Just go open it and click on the join. Manta Sanjay. Manta Sanjay. Are you there? Yeah, that only I'm telling now. You need to download the notes from there only. Mr. Sanjay, you too. The invitation is sent to your mail. You did not accept it. Go to your Gmail and accept them here. You two did not accept. Sanjay and Kishore. Remaining everyone has accepted. So with this, 39 are added. So 56 students are there. 56 minus to 54. And 39 are there. Yeah, 39 means still 40, nearly 15 students has to be added. Nearly 15 students have to be added. Don't print the notes, Manoj. Don't print the notes. I will upload within few days, I will upload a modified version. Okay, don't print. Anyone don't print. Within few days, I will upload a modified version. After uploading a modified version, I'll tell you, then you can take the printouts. Okay, guys, if anyone is planning to take the printouts, after I upload the modified version, you take the printouts. I'll upload it. Yeah, who are not added, what you'll do is just your email ID and your fees receipt. I think some of you have paid the fees just now. Your fees receipts and your email IDs, just send it to Rambabu and Rambabu will add you. Kishore accepted, I think. Yeah, Kishore accepted. Yeah, Andy Kishore has accepted the request at 39. And still Sanjay, you did not. You only are pending. Okay, if you're also accepting the request, it will be 39 here. Okay, guys. I will also just inform Mr. Rambabu to do it as early as possible. So just to get added over there. Okay, once you people. Yeah, I think today he was a little bit busy about the payments and all. I will make sure he will be adding it in the morning, early hours of tomorrow, guys. Okay, I'll make sure he will be adding in the early hours of tomorrow. Okay, so guys, fine. So the complete notes, I will upload you a modified version of the notes within few days. After that, you take the printout. Right now, don't take any printouts. Okay, guys. Yeah. So guys, are you clear with this one? Are you clear with this? So now here a question starts now. Here a question raises. What is the question? What is a class? A question will be raising here. What is a class? Okay. Any guess, guys? Anyone who studied object-oriented programming earlier, who came from C++ or who came from Java backgrounds or somewhere earlier, who were aware of object-oriented programming? Can anyone tell me what is a class? Logical entity means data type. Still, blueprint of an object, collection of members, collection of data members and functions. User-defined data type. Class is a collection of methods. Did I ask you what does a class contain in it? Did I ask you what does a class contain in it? Then why are you telling variables and functions collection and all? And the answer is like, how you know? I asked you a question, who are you? Without telling who are you, you people started telling, I'm 5 feet 8 inches height. Okay, my color is white, my hair is black, My eyes are black. This is what you're answering. I asked you, what is a class? Yeah. In these answers, some answers are right answers. I did not tell, but some answers are right answers only. So basically, what is a class means? Listen to this. You learned about structures in C language, guys. You learned about structures in C language. If you learned about structures in C language, what is the structure? Tell me. What is the structure? You forgot, huh? It's a user-defined data type here. Yeah. Now you remember, it's a user-defined data type. It is going to be a user-defined type. It is a user-defined type. Are you clear? That's what we learned in the C language, guys. What is a structure? User-defined type. So now, what is a class? A class is also a user-defined type. A class is also a user-defined type. Tomorrow, someone asks you a question, what is a class? The answer, what you should give, it is a user-defined type, very much similar to the structures we have learned in the procedural programming languages. I repeat, it's a user-defined type, which is very similar to the structures we have learned in the C language. Then what is the difference now? If both are same, what is the difference? The difference is, guys, do you remember? In a structure of C language, we can declare only variables. In a structure of a C language, we can declare only variables. So do you remember that point? In C language structure, it can contain only variables in it. But when we come to class, class can contain variables and functions also. Class can contain variables and functions also. Just all of you remember. A very common example, a very well-known example, what all of us have learned. Yeah, guys, a very, very common example, what all of us have learned here. What is this is about a structure. Struct, student. Our teachers, our textbooks, all these have explained about this example, student. And now in this, we will be declaring some variables now. What is it? Int, ID. Next, character array, name. Next, float, these, marks. Like this, we'll be just going to declare a structure. This is a structure, student. Same way, guys, now we are going to define a class. Class, a class employee. Okay, here I'm writing, here also int ID. Now we have a data called string data type, string name and job. Name, job. Float, salary. Okay, and just guys observe it. We can also define functions. Did you understand the difference between a class and structure, guys? What is that? What is that? Functions. We cannot define functions in a structure. We cannot define a functions in structure of C language. Okay? We cannot define functions in a structure of C language, but we can define functions in a class that was introduced in C++. Object-oriented programming, C++. We can define functions here. Okay, how do you define them here? How do you define them? If you just understand, how do you define them, guys? The syntax is like this: struct, name of the structure, and here we have variables. And how about a class? Class, name of the class, and we have variables and functions. Okay, na? Members means variables, functions, all these things will come. Members means variables, functions, not only variables and functions here, because you don't know right now. You don't know right now. I'm just going to, I'm just telling variables and functions only. But a class can contain 8 different types of members: variables, functions, constructors, finalizers, properties, indexers, deconstructors, events. Like this, 8 different types of members are there. Day one only, I don't want to confuse you or make you afraid. That's why we just started very simply. That's all. Yes, what we write inside a class are called members. In C sharp also we have struct. Yes, C sharp also has struct. C sharp also has struct. We're not, but we are C sharp structs are again different. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about C sharp struct. We are done. We are not. See, we are talking about 70s and 80s. In 70s and 80s, what happened? I'm telling you. Okay, don't bring C sharp into picture here. Am I clear, guys? What I'm telling you? I'm just only trying to tell you what happened in 70s and 80s. Okay, first let us just observe about this one. So now, now guys, if I ask you a question, what is student? What's your answer? Come on. If I ask you a question, what is student? What's your answer? Structure name, class name. No, guys. Okay, I'll ask you another question. Think and answer. What is int? What is int? Okay, I changed my question. What is the int? Tell me first. Int is a data type. Int is a data type. Guys, is this int born like you and me? Is this int born like you and me? Then int is also predefined. Int is predefined, guys. Int is not born. Int is predefined. Okay, int is not born. Int is predefined. Guys, understand. Int is predefined. It is basically predefined. Okay, so int is predefined. So guys, understand my point. Int is predefined. So listen what I'm trying to tell you. Int is a predefined structure. Int is a predefined structure. Really? Yes, it is a predefined structure. In the libraries of your language, it is defined for you like this. How? Struct int. Struct int. Not only a int, guys. Char is a predefined structure. Struct char. Struct char. Okay. Float is a predefined structure. Struct float. All these are predefined structures. Now we have string now. String is predefined class. Class string. These are all predefined in the libraries of your language. These are all predefined in the libraries of your language. Now tell me guys, if I ask you what is int, what are you answering? If I ask you what is int, what are you answering? Int is a data type. Yeah, int is a data type. Why are you telling int is a structure? Int is a data type, predefined data type. What are you answering? Int is a predefined data type. What is char? Predefined data type. Float, predefined data type. String, predefined data. All these are predefined data types now. Now tell me, what is student? Student is a data type. Student is a data type, user defined data type. Student is a data type. What is it? User defined data type. Employee, data type, user defined data type. Employee is also data type only. Student is a data type. Employee is also a data type. So now both these two things are just going to be user defined types. User defined types. Now guys, tell me, what is the difference between student and employee types and int, char, float and string types? What is the difference between student and employee types and int, char, float and string types? First difference. Student and employee are user defined, whereas int, char, float and string are predefined. Okay, first difference, they are predefined and user defined. Okay, now second difference. What is the second difference? The second difference is just going to be int, char, float and string. Int, char, float and string are int, char, float and string. These four things, if you take them into consideration, these four are these particular four. What for? Int, char, float and string. These four are scalar types. Scalar types means we can store only one value under them. If I say int id, how many values can you store in that? One value only. Okay, but a student and employee are complex types. Student and employee are complex types. These two are complex types. Complex types in the sense, can I store only one value or more than one value? We can store more than one value. So that's what these are going to be complex types. These are going to be complex types. So simple types and the complex types is the second difference what we have between them. These are all predefined, yeah. These are all predefined in the libraries. These are all predefined in the libraries. All these are predefined in the libraries. Are you getting me? These are all predefined in the libraries. In the libraries, these are all predefined basically. Understood? Yeah, they're predefined. They're predefined as a structure. Int is a predefined structure. String is a predefined structure. They're all predefined structures. What is your confusion? Tell me. Int is not born, Ashu. Int is not born like you and me. This is predefined. This is predefined. How is it defined? It is defined for you as a structure in the language. Okay? Int, char, float, string, all these are predefined. Who are you to write, Santoshi? They're predefined. I'm telling me, can we write? You are telling. Santoshi, did you understand? What I said you, they are predefined, I said you. Then you are telling, can we write? Who are you to write now? They're already defined. Okay? So fine. Same way, I defined my own type called student. I defined my own type called employee. Student is my own type. Employee is my own type. Array, a structure, a class is a predefined type, guys. Okay, just a minute, all of you. Watch this. Read it, all of you. First, start with what is a class? Read. So, what is a class? I very simply said you here. Class can contain both variables and functions. Structure can contain only variables. Already said you. The difference between a class and structure is class can contain variables and functions, but structure can contain only variables. Okay, how do you define them? You define them like this: a struct, name of the struct, variable; class, name of the class, variables. Sharath, I already said you, I don't want to confuse you. I'm talking about 70s and 80s. Just someone said, I just said that. I don't want to confuse you and tell you now. I said you about 70s and 80s. In 70s and 80s, we are talking about the history. Let me step by step come to you. Okay? Are you clear, guys? So, what I'm trying to tell you now is, array, in C language, we learnt about int, float, char, and all these things. This int, float, char, and all these things, what we learnt in the C language, don't think they are all born. They are all predefined. They're all predefined. Same way, we can also define our own types. Student is a type, employee is a type, user defined types. Read this paragraph, all of you. Read this paragraph. Okay, guys. So fine. Why you're talking value types and all here? Why are you confusing yourself? Where did I say value type? Why are you confusing yourself? Did I say anything about value type or anything? I did not say that now. Why are you confusing yourself? Stick to what I said. Don't go beyond. I will tell you everything. For everything, there is a time. When the time comes, I'll tell you, wait. Okay? Fine, guys. Someone asking how more than one value? Array under student, you can store 4 values here. What is it? ID, name, marks, and fees. Are you clear, Shubham? Under student, I can store 4 values: ID, name, marks, and fees. Okay? That is what? More than one value. That is what I'm just telling you. Fine. Now, guys, how to consume a type? How to consume a type? There's a small question to be understood here. How to consume a type? What is how to consume a type? Yes, guys. How do you consume a type? So why I raised this particular question is, listen, guys. Is this a valid statement? Is this a valid statement? No, this is not going to be a valid statement. This is not going to be a valid statement. Why? What is the drawback? What is the problem with this particular statement? Why this statement is not going to be valid? Because a data type, guys, listen, a data type cannot hold any value in it. A data type cannot hold any value in it. A data type cannot hold any value in it. So, what is the correct statement? What is the correct statement? Int I is equals to 100. This is the correct statement. Int I is equals to 100. This statement is going to be a correct statement. So int is equals to 100 is a wrong statement, guys, but int I is equals to 100 is going to be a perfect statement. So this is a valid statement. Are you clear? Okay, so that's what. See, what is that? Basically, a data type cannot hold a value, guys. Why this statement is not valid means a data type cannot hold a value. Why? A data type is just like a plan of a house. A data type is just like a plan of a house. Tell me, guys, can you live in the plan of a house? You cannot live in the plan of a house now. You require. Can you build a house? So here, the memory allocation is for int I. The memory allocation is for int I. But what is the use of int here? How much memory has to be allocated? Where that memory has to be allocated? Listen, guys, how much memory has to be allocated, where that memory has to be allocated, all that information is present in int only. Memory allocation is for I, but how much memory to be allocated, where that memory to be allocated, all that information is present inside of that particular I. Sorry, inside of the int only. So here, even the memory is allocated for this one, can I write I is equals to 100, guys? Memory is allocated for I only now. Can I write I is equals to 100? No. This is the perfect statement. Int I is equals to 100. See here? You cannot live in the plan of a house. You cannot live in the plan of a house. Right now? Can you build a house without a plan? Can you build a house without a plan? So to build a house, do you require a plan or not? To build a house, you require a plan or not? Okay, guys, watch it. This is the plan of a house. Listen carefully. This is the plan of a house. This is the constructed house. This is the plan of the house. This is the constructed house. And this is you. What is this? This is like living in the plan. This is like living in the plan, guys. This is like living in the plan. You cannot live in the plan. Understood my point? The first statement is like living in the plan. You cannot live in the plan. Second statement is like building a house without a plan. You cannot do that also. Can you build a house without a plan? No. A house cannot be built without a plan. These two are not valid. These two are not going to be valid. I cannot build a house without a plan. But this is the perfect statement. The plan of a house, the constructed house, and then you're using it. Okay? So finally, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is, a data type cannot be consumed directly. Finally, the conclusion is, a data type cannot be consumed directly. Did you understand my point, guys? A data type cannot be consumed directly. That is, to consume a data type, you're required to first create a copy of the type. To consume a data type, first you're required to create a copy of that particular type. A copy of that particular type has to be created. Okay. Now tell me, this rule applies only to predefined types or user-defined types also? This rule applies only to predefined types or both predefined and user-defined types also? This rule applies both to predefined and user-defined types also, guys. The rule what I said you here, it is just not for predefined types. The rule what I said you here, it is just not for predefined types. It is for both predefined and user-defined types also. Understood? It is going to be both user-defined and predefined types also. So the point I'm trying to tell you now, if you want to consume a int, what you do? Int I. What is I? I is a copy of type int. I is a copy of type int. So what I said to you, you're required to create a copy of the type now. Why? Memory is allocated for those copies only. I is a copy of the type and memory is allocated for that particular copies only. Now see, string S. What is S, guys? Come on, you tell me, what is S? S is a copy of type string. Same way, guys, listen. Student SS. SS is a copy of type student. Employee EMP. EMP is a copy. EMP is a copy of type employee. So to consume them, we should first create a copy of the appropriate types. To consume them, we should first create a copy of those appropriate types, guys. Did you guys understand? Without creating a copy, can't we consume them? No, we cannot. Without creating a copy, can't we consume them? No, we cannot. We cannot consume them without creating a copy. Okay? So point clear to all? Okay. I'll tell you why I was explaining about all these particular things. I'll just tell you. Come on, guys. Read this, all of you. How to consume a type. Is that clear now? Is everything clear? Do anyone has any confusion? Okay. Now listen. Arey, what we call I, guys? What we call I? What we call I? Variable. Arey, variable. What we call I? Variable. What we call yes? Variable. But what we call SS? We don't call SS as a variable. We call it as an object. We call it as an object. What we call EMP? Object. They're called objects. Why the difference? Generally, guys, a copy of a simple type, a copy of a scalar type, a copy of a scalar type is called variable, but a copy of a complex type is generally called as object, not reference. Object or instance, not reference, Rajat. Okay, we call it as an object or instance. Guys, all of you read that note. Read that note in the last. Not predefined and user defined. Scalar and complex. The discrimination I'm not doing between predefined and user defined people. It is scalar and complex. Copies of scalar types are called as variables. Copies of complex types are called as objects or instances. What is that? Some programming languages call object and some programming language called instance. So that's why I said you object or instance. Is it clear, guys? Okay, fine. Now listen. Why I explained all these things to you is, you see, we will define here, we will define all of them. What other examples we will define? We will define complex types every day. Every day we'll be defining the complex types. Just see, all of you. Suppose you're writing a program in C language. You're writing a program in C language. I already said your reference is not there. You're again telling reference. Object or instance, not reference. Reference is completely different. I will explain you later. Wait. The problem, if you don't know anything easier, if you know some only, the problem is. If you know some, you will be thinking something and you will be asking this. I will explain everything. Follow me. What I am telling, stick to that only. Don't think beyond. Everything I will tell you. Guys, have a look. I'm writing a program in C language. Int add, int x comma, int y. And here I'm writing return x plus y. Return x plus y. Again, int sub, int x comma, int y. Return x minus y. Guys, have a look. I'm writing two simple functions. How do you call them, guys? How do you call them? You will come to main now. And in the main, you write void main. You write void main. And afterwards, you try calling them now. How do you call? Int result1 is equals to add of 100 comma 50. Okay. And then you say int result2 is equals to sub of, and you will pass some values 98 comma 23. Guys, this is how you call now. In C language, I'm talking about C language. In C language, fine. Now suppose if this is a C++ program, if this is a C++ program, what to do first? First, if this is a C++ program, what to do first? Write this code in a class. Write this code in a class. How? Class math, class math. Okay, class math. And all these particular functions will now go into the class now. Are you clear, guys? If you write in C language, nothing. If you write in C++, now the code will be inside the class. Okay, second point. Now coming to main, no, not folder, container. Okay, coming to main, you cannot call the members directly. What you require to do, math obj. What is it, guys? Creating an object of class. Then you should call it like this: obj.add, obj.sub. This is how you should call. This is how you should call copy. That's a copy, right? A copy is nothing but an object. Okay, so this is how you require to call it. Did you understand? Guys, understood? Okay. Now come on. Have a look. See the conclusion now. See the conclusion, guys. See the final conclusion. After defining a class or struct, if we want to consume them, first we need to create a copy of them, and then only memory which is required for execution gets allocated. And by using that copy, object or instance only, we can call members that are defined under them. Then only we can call the members that are defined under them. You see, this is a C++ program. This is a class, collection of members, variables and functions. Void main, entry point, create the object of class and call the members. But see the C program, in C program, directly collection of members, call the members from here, that's all. But here, the members are inside a class, you cannot call the members. You need to create them. You need to create a instance. Are you guys clear? You cannot write inside a class in C++ here. I will explain that. You cannot write that inside a class in C++. I will explain that. Understood all of you how to write a program in C language and how do you write a program in C++ language? Guys, read each and everything carefully. Read each and everything carefully. Okay, tomorrow I will explain you. There are drawbacks in this. There are drawbacks in this. What are the drawbacks? How the drawbacks are resolved? And then I will tell you how do you write a program in C#. And also tomorrow we'll see how to write one program. Okay, guys? Okay, we'll wind up for today and we'll meet tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow. Sir, from Monday onwards, I will start it by sharp 5 to 6:30, guys. From Monday onwards, I will start from sharp 5 to 6:30. Okay. Tomorrow, just I will be taking 1 hour, 115 minutes class only. From Monday 5 to 6:30, sharp will take. Okay, guys. Bye. We'll meet tomorrow. Good night, guys.
The recording has stopped.